So we're at the final Derby prep at the fairgrounds, the Louisiana Derby. It's a grade 2. It's the last race on the card at fairgrounds. Thank you for not subjecting us to a state-bred maiden of some kind as the final race for the pick 5 or the pick 6. It's running a mile and 3/16 for 3-year-olds, and this is because the distance itself gives us a really good gauge, I think, as to how some of these horses can handle the mile and a quarter. If we take a look at the field, we see some familiar faces. Track Phantom, of course, who's been the one at the fairgrounds. Had a good second in the Risen Star. We've got Common Defense, who ran second in the Rebel Stakes. Real Men Violin and Anna Marie, who were in the Risen Star. Catching Freedom, who ran a green third in the Risen Star. And we've got Agate Road coming over from the Sam F. Davis, and Hall of Fame, who's trying to rebound from a disappointing effort in the Risen Star. And then we've got Antiquarian, a new shooter who just broke his maiden with a pretty good effort, as well as Triple Espresso, another maiden. So and Tuscan Gold, I might add. So we've got a deep field at the very least. But the race shape to me is very similar to that of the Risen Star. And so we'll take a look at them one at a time, and we'll see Track Phantom is the lone speed. I think Antiquarian perhaps will, having the better post position, will try to get the lead. But given Track Phantom's high cruising speed and his fractions are just very kind of one pace, but very solid all the way across, and they're just better than these early runners. So I think they'll use him much as they did in the Risen Star from the 11 hole, and he'll get to the lead without a problem, and then it's catch me if you can. So I think Track Phantom is going to have it all his way again, and then the question will be if he's good enough, and there's no Sierra Leone here, so you never know. But I think tactically he's in a really good place, and I think he's the one they're going to have to beat. Hall of Fame, I likely will be, I would expect he'll probably run an improved effort, but he really, if he's a horse who wins by 10 lengths and then comes out in a stakes race and just flattens right out, maybe it was the mud, okay, I'll give him a bit of a pass, but I just think it's too early in this one's career to be subjected to a second graded stakes when he didn't do too well in the first, and I don't expect he's going to improve enough to factor in this race, and I'm going to let him beat me because the price is probably going to be short, and he's a wise guy horse, so I'll pass. Antiquarian had a good maiden win, but he didn't really beat much, as is the case with a lot of these horses who win maidens in February or March for a 3-year-old. Because they're beating horses that, either have been racing for a while and just haven't factored. And they're kind of JV races, in my opinion. So they're to say that he's going to step up right into graded stakes, he's got a couple things going for him. He is by preservationist, and certainly the longer they get, the distances get, the better he's going to like it. So that is a positive here. But I just think it's a little early to expect that he's going to be able to duel with Track Phantom and have enough in the tank to take this one down. So Antiquarian, if you want to go for a potential upset, it's possible. But again, I don't see enough from that maiden win to tell me that he's going to make that monster move forward to be competitive in this race. Next Level, we thought might have a good effort in his last race, and he didn't really run at all. We thought maybe the closing style that he had displayed in the optional claimer, maybe they had found something. But you know what? He ran pretty much the same race as he did in that option claimer for $100,000, and he was of no factor. He was just too far back. We had way too much to do late, and there's a ton of late runners in here. If they do that again, I don't think he has a chance. If they try to keep him close to the pace, I don't think he's good enough, so Next Level to me is a toss. Triple Espresso hasn't run on dirt yet, so I guess they're going with the Agate Road. Let's put him on dirt for the first time. Maybe we'll catch Thunder, but he's not good enough, in my opinion. I haven't seen enough from him to tell me that he is going to all of a sudden become this monster closer. And there's a lot of other late runners in here who were better, in my opinion. So Triple Espresso to me is a pass. It looks like Mike Rapoli's just trying to stack the deck for this one. Awesome Ruta, not good enough. Hasn't shown me anything to tell me that a move forward is likely to be competitive amongst this group. So class-wise, Awesome Ruta, scratch. Real Men Violin, I'm willing to give another chance because he was coming off the bench and, he didn't run badly, but it was his first race off the bench, so we can give him a pass. If he can get back to that Kentucky Jockey Club form, those type of fractions, run a race like that, he has a chance, particularly since now at 3, maybe with a race under him, he can take a move forward. I didn't like that Kentucky Jockey Club. He had every chance to win it, and he didn't. But Kenny McPeaks, you never know from one race to the next. And this one looks like he might be laying in the weeds because tactically he's probably going to be a lot closer than all the late runners who are going to take a lot of money. So I think you're going to get a price, particularly since he didn't do too well in the Risen Star. And if he can run an improved effort, which is highly possible, I'll give him a chance. So Real Men Violin, I think we use. Common Defense ran a good second in the Rebel. We had expected it in the race prior. We had to wait one. And the thing about the Rebel is he had really everything his own way. He saved all the ground. He was on the rail. And he did still. He ran an improved effort. And the thing I liked about it was he was closer to the pace. And that's really... I think that's the mark of an improving horse. It's also interesting to note that Brian Hernandez opted off of Real Men Violin to get on Common Defense. So we'll give him a shot too, and you probably get a pretty decent price. I'm not sure that he has enough to take down Track Phantom to pass him in the stretch, but I'll give him a shot, and you can probably get him into the money again with some value. Tuscan Gold is another one that broke his maiden, did so with a pretty impressive effort. But if you go back and watch that race, he broke very slow, and he was kind of one-paced, kind of grinded it out to end up with the win. Now, is it possible that he will break better in this race and be a little more attentive to the pace? Sure, it's Chad Brown. It's very possible. But... there's a lot of other late runners in here, which means he's going to have to work out a trip. And again, it's certainly possible, and he did look like he has some talent. But I just, it's hard to take these horses off of maidens right into a graded stakes, particularly at 3 years old. So Tuscan Gold, I think with some talent, it is possible he can get underneath. But I think he'd have to run a bigger race than he's got in the tank right now to win this one. So using underneath, hopefully you can get a little bit of value, but being by Chad Brown with the Rat Ortiz, I doubt it. Agate Road, we saw in the Sam F. Davis, he closed late, but his fractions aren't nearly as good as Anna Marie or Catching Freedom. I just don't think he's as good as they are. Can he close with the right trip and get underneath? Sure. But he's not good enough, in my opinion, and I would only use him underneath in the gimmicks for the try of the Super, and that's the extent of it. Catching Freedom, we all know what the problem is. He's just a little green. He is a horse with talent. He didn't necessarily run a better race in the Risen Star than he did in the Smarty Jones, and that's a little bit of a concern, particularly when you consider how green he still is. Now, hopefully, with another start under his belt, that will be worked out. But for now, I think he's confined to being underneath. They did take him further back in the Risen Star than they had in his prior race, and that's also a little bit of a concern to me, considering that was not the place to be in the Risen Star, given the fact that Track Phantom was going to be all alone in the lead. So Catching Freedom, to me, I think is one that is probably more consigned to underneath for tactical reasons more than anything else. And I just think he still needs some. He just needs to improve, and he needs to mature. Anna Marie, has got a race under his belt. Didn't run a bad race in the Risen Star. Was slow to get going and coming off the bench. That's no surprise for a closer. But he did keep on with interest pretty well. And I think with a race under him, he's certainly eligible to run a better race. I really liked his 2-year-old campaign. His late fraction kept getting better with every race. That's a really, without his early fractions decreasing. So that's a horse to me running against himself. I've mentioned that before. So I'm willing to give Anna Marie another chance. Again, tactically, going to have it awful tough. But if he can run a Sierra Leone type of race, he's got a chance. And of the late runners, I consider him to be the one with the best chance to take it down. So if we look at our wagering strategy, Track Phantom to me is the one to beat. Tactically, for more than any other reason. But I just think he's going to have it all his own way on the lead. And I don't think they're going to catch him this time unless somebody can put together a Sierra Leone type of race. And that would be Anna Marie, I think, has the best chance there. As a value play, I like Real Men Violin because I think the price will be right. And it has the potential to run a good race now with one under the belt. And because he didn't do terribly well in the Risen Star, that makes for a good piece of value, in my opinion. We're going to use Common Defense, too. I think he's another one. We'll use both Kenny McPeaks and hope one of them runs a good race. Like I said, Kenny McPeak you just never know with them. But to me, I'm thinking Real Men Violin has a better chance. So we'll key box with Track Phantom on top with 5, 7, and 9. I think Catching Freedom and Anna Marie of the late runners probably have the best chance to get up for second. And maybe can take it down with a little bit of luck. And then we're going to box Real Men Violin and Track Phantom for our value play. And if we get that 12-9 exacta or 9-12, then we double up and we're good there. Trifecta, we're going to go 12 on top with 5, 7, 9, and then we'll use all the late runners, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 10. And the better the price we get underneath, the better for us, of course. But again, race shape being the operative term here, the operative thing to define this race, I think it's Track Phantoms to lose.